Hey folks, welcome back. I'm your host, R.R. Slugger, and at first glance, this video topic is going to seem a little strange and potentially self-centered. I hope by the end, though, I'll be able to raise enough thought-provoking points that it will retroactively justify this video's existence. Fingers crossed, at least. So, the other day, I built a Lego set for me. That's to say that I purchased and constructed it all for myself. It wasn't meant to be the centerpiece of a live stream or the focal point of a future video. It was just supposed to be for me to relax and enjoy. Now, firstly, I know that sounds silly. Lego is a toy, and there's absolutely nothing special about doing what I did. However, I would be lying if I said that having a YouTube channel dedicated to this hobby doesn't significantly impact how I enjoy it. Nowadays, it's exceptionally rare that I buy a set, especially a modern set, without considering how I'd work it into a future video or live stream. These days, I actively avoid building sets unless I know I can turn it into a project down the road. Once a set is built, it starts collecting dust that'll be picked up by the camera. That is, unless you store it in a plastic bin somewhere, taking up valuable real estate. No, it's better to leave a set boxed until you're ready to make that video. Though, this mindset has led me to things like not constructing my Unitron monorail set a single time in the past year since I bought it. I have no idea how I'll be able to photograph that set, so it remains in the box. That simply wasn't the case with set 31153 Modern House, though. I bought this set for me, not for some YouTube video. Now, don't worry, the irony is not lost on me. I had no intentions of talking about it at all on my channel. I just thought it looked neat, and I wanted to have some fun building it myself. In doing so, however, I found myself inspired to write about it, and ironically or not, here we are. So, first things first, why doesn't my copy of the set look like everyone else's? Well, it's because I went into this model knowing there were things that I wanted to change about it. Right from the get-go, I knew I wanted to build it on traditional base plates, not the brick-built beach from the box. I didn't like how busy the terrain looked, and I felt it distracted from what should be the focus of the set, this amazing modern house design. By placing the house on traditional base plates, I not only saved the occupants a ton of money on flood insurance, but also allowed the structure to fit more seamlessly into city layouts. I used a 16x32 and an 8x16 to do this. I considered using bright green base plates, but I'm glad I just went with regular green, as it created a better contrast with the colors of the home. Taste is all subjective, but I think this aesthetic is a substantial improvement over the one I was sold. It required a fair bit of reworking the foundation on my part, but luckily I was left with an abundance of leftover pieces to make use of. I guess it just goes to show how many parts are needed to fill the void left by the absence of base plates in modern sets. It's not nothing, that's for sure. I didn't fuss with the interior details, as I felt they were all stellar in the stock model. One of my favorite aspects is how everything is actually anchored down. Oftentimes in modern builds, small parts or side builds are just floating within. This drives me nuts when I inevitably forget and try to move the set only for them to spill out onto the floor. Lego has studs. Use them! It also goes without saying that I didn't enjoy the look of the trees in this set, so I added my own. I even used some leftover pieces to make a hedge that looks a little more prim and proper than its disheveled cousin. All in all, I got exactly what I wanted out of this set. I knew that I wasn't going to be content with building it exactly by the book, so I didn't. I kept the parts that worked for me and modified the parts that didn't. The building experience was fast and fun, and actually featured a lot of bricks, not just a modern plate Technic frame bonanza. In fact, since I discarded the intended foundation, I didn't have to attach a single Technic pin to anything. Hallelujah! This is the most satisfied I've been with a modern Lego set in years, and part of me can't help but wonder if it was my mindset going into it that played an important part. Building this set for me, my way, instead of keeping it stock to review for the channel, has certainly given me something to ponder. maybe I need to be a little more willing to make the changes I want to see in modern LEGO. It sure beats feeling only lukewarm about nearly everything the company puts out these days. I should go back to the Cozy House 3-in-1 and see what I can do there. This experiment with a modern set on a traditional base plate has been rather eye-opening, I must say. Lastly, I want to encourage others to take this leap as well. There's no rule that says you have to build everything according to the instructions. If you know you're not going to be happy with a certain aspect, then don't build it that way. I, for one, am going to be keeping this in mind going forward. So, I built something for me for a change, and I still couldn't help but write about it. Maybe there's something hypocritical about that when judging it by the end product alone, but believe me, the process was very different on this one. This video reminded me of the one I made for the Radical Racer, where a set I built just for me turned out to be so inspiring that I had to drop what I was doing and get started on a script. This one did contain significantly less silly voices, though. Anyways, thanks for watching! Thanks for watching. I hope you found something in this video insightful. I know I certainly did. I've been your host, R.R. Slugger, and I'll see you next time for another video.